Welcome to this tutorial, the STATA tutorial related to the lecture number 7 on data organization and file management. So here is the structure of the TUTORIal protocol that we studied during the lecture. So here you can see that the different folders are structured in such a way that you don't mix the data set and the do file and your final report together. So things are organized. So here you have the original data folder. Within the original data folder you have your original data set, the one that you have been sent, for instance, by Matty through email that you never ever touch. It has to be the raw data, is the original data. And you also have the STATA. I mean, for the STATA one we will generate that, so it's not even like a big problem. The metadata is just like the questionnaire or anything about how the data was collected. More information about the data are located into the metadata folder, right? So here, for instance, we have the final report of the Kyrgyzstan Integrated Household Survey in 2009, but we also have information about how the data was collected. And if you have the questionnaire, for instance, you can also put that here. So that's it for the original data folder. In the document folder, what we have is basically your final report, the README file. The README file is just a file describing information about the structure of this folder. So it actually giving you information about what is in the document folder, what is in the command folder, what is in the analysis data folder. So it's about describing the content of each of the folder, right? And then you have your final report that you're writing and currently working on right now, with the table and comments and everything. And then you have the command file, which is actually having information about the different do file that you're using. So here you can notice, for instance, that the do file are classified. So the first do file is the one that you use to import your data. The second do file is the one you use to clean up your data. The third do file is the one you use for descriptive statistics. The fourth one is about inferential statistics, probability testing, hypothesis testing, probability analysis, sorry. And then you have the label, so the do file that you use for labeling your variable, so you understand what each variable means. And then you have your master do file. The master do file, as you remember, is this big do file containing all this input or subset do file that you run once and you have the result as the output. For the analysis data, so this is the data set that has been cleaned and that is ready for data analysis. So you have already fixed all the problems in the data and everything. So remember, you have the problem with the xf variable, so you fix it, and the poverty analysis is really ready for analysis, for producing the final result on your report, right? So you see how things are structured. Okay, so now let's open each of the do file and run that together and see how they are structured. So here, for instance, the import do file that you use for importing the raw data. So remember, you always have the header. You remind what is the purpose of the do file, who are the creator of the do file. You put their contact information, their email, the date that the do file was created, the date that the do file was last modified, the data in, so what are the input information. For instance, for the import do file, the input data set is the CSV KIHS poverty data set, and the output do file is the raw data but in the STATA format, right? And then the purpose of this do file is importing the data from CSV in STATA. Okay, so here you have version. So version is the command giving you which version of STATA you're working. Very important for reproducibility and replicability issue. You also have the set more of command, clear all, macro drop all. It's about clearing the memory before you begin doing your own stuff, right? Like if there's any macro that have been created before that might potentially have the same name than the macro that you'll be generating, you have to clean the memory before doing that. And then you have the global, very important, right? It avoids you having absolute path. So using relative path is important. Remember what we said in the lecture, it helps to reproduce. So you set the global, you set the big folder that you're working on, which is this folder. So my path will be that one. So here that will be my path. where I have all the different folders, right? And I'm setting it as my global, I'm calling that path. So this is my general path. And then within this path, I'm telling STATA what are the access link to the other folder in the big path. So the I'm naming that, so that's the name I'm giving. So for instance, analysis, this is the path where you have the data, the clean data that are ready for analysis. Do file, this is the path where within the command file that you're having all the do file that you'll be using for producing your report. And then you have the original data. So I'm calling, so this is the name. You can give any name you want. You can name you can even put your own first name. It doesn't matter, but this has to be exactly the name of the folder, the name of the folder, the name within the folder. And then you have the document. Again, I'm having the same, and I'm having my capture log close. It's about closing all the log file that might potentially be open, so that it doesn't appear in your log file. And then you log using, and you import, right? Then you start doing your things. You import, and then you save the raw data into a STATA format. So let's run this do file and see what we have. Okay, so everything is set. And if we go to the document folder, you notice that now we have this first import log, which is the first log file, which is having the log file about importing our data set, right? So now we can open the second do file, which is the cleaning do file. So here I'm having the same header. So the project is about cleaning the raw data in STATA, and then the data in is the KIHS poverty.dta. The data out is the one that will be cleaned already. So cleaning, for instance, means fixing the problem in the XF variable, and the same name of creator, date of last modification, and then you can even have an outline. So if the cleaning process is done in different in different steps, there you have to notice that you have to precise those steps here. So for instance, the first part of the do file, you write what this is going to be done, and then the second part you write what the second part will be doing, and then the third part you write what the third part will be doing. That's very important. And then you have version, set more off. So again, the same process that we did before, so the header doesn't change, but then the only difference is that here we are already using the raw data in STATA format, and then we put the label onto this raw into this raw data. We do the cleaning process, we compute a new variable, we label new variable, we do some graph and everything. And here you can even save graph already, and if you want to save the graph, you save that in the document path, right? So this is how you work. So you save that in the document path already. So if I would like to run that, so I'm running the cleaning do file, which is taking as an input data set. It takes the raw data in STATA and is going to generate me the clean data set. So all those graphs can be saved. You just need to add the saving option after the graph command. You just need to have the saving option. You can save all those graphs. Okay, so here you can see everything is set. It generated the second, right, the second log file. So we are fine. So the data is clean, and we have a new data set called KIHS poverty analysis. And then I'm going to open the third do file, which is the descriptive statistics one. So what we're going to do, again, we have the header, the same thing doesn't change. The only difference is that here we are using already the clean data set, and it is on the clean data set that we are going to do the descriptive statistics. So we're going to generate tables, tabulation, look at potentially percentiles, so doing even correlation analysis, look at the correlation, expenses, household income, and everything. So what we do here, the same, we run the do file, and then it's going to generate us it's going to generate the result or about descriptive statistics. Everything you did during the lecture number 3 is there. If you have any graph, always remember that you want to put the graph in the final report. You just need to use the saving option, right? So everything is done. So it generated me the log file on descriptive statistics, and then fourth, I'm having the inferential statistics do file. Again, the same header, but only that I'm changing the purpose of the project. So here, generating p-value, okay, and then doing some hypothesis testing. The same thing, I'm running that, okay. I'm running that, and I'm waiting for STATA to generate the log file. And if I have any graph that I would like to save, you remember, for instance, here it's only having the saving option, and then it saved the graph in the document folder. But you need to precise the path. Has been generated, and then the master do file, right? So now you will understand the reason of the master do file. So the master do file is about running all the do file at once. You don't need to run those do files separately. And then in the master do file, you explain the project again. This is the content. You give an overview. You describe what each of the do file are doing. You define the globals, so the different paths, and then you run the do file. So here I have 4 do file: the one that I use to import the data, the one I use to clean up the data, the one I use to do my descriptive statistics, and the one I use to do my inferential statistics. And then what I need to do is running that, and running that will basically run everything at once, so that I don't have to run each of those do files separately. So running that will give me already all those do file somewhere. That's something very, very important. So you run do file in such a way that you will see all those log file. The log file will already be here. So you will not need to do anything about running that separately, but you will have already your big log file with all the information. Everything you have to do is to wait. You wait, and it generates everything for you. And remember, the replace option is very important after the log file. It means if this log file is already there, it will just replace it, right? So it means that when you run the master do file, if it generates again new log file for each of those sub do file, but then if the do file was already generated separately, then it will just replace it if there's no changes that you did. So here you see, when you look at the time, you see exactly that those do file was generated again. Okay, so you have everything and you're all set. Thank you for listening to the video, and I'm looking forward to present you information about STATA Mark Doc and how to generate dynamic document. Welcome back. Welcome to this last part of our tutorial. Now I'm going to talk about dynamic document in STATA. There is an option in STATA where you can directly with a click generate your final report already. It's quite like a new feature of STATA, and STATA 15 is having that integrated already. So if you have STATA 15, depending on the version, be it standard edition or intercool or multiple purpose, I don't believe you need to install the different plugin or command, but if you have STATA 14, possibly you need to install those commands. And now we're going to talk about how to generate dynamic document in STATA. So here you have this file probably that you've downloaded already, and within this folder you have this file, MADoc Markdown. This is for generating a Word document, and MADoc LaTeX to generate a LaTeX document. So we will use an integrated data set in STATA called Auto. And what we're going to do actually is to go through the do file that I'm having right here and try and show you guys how it works. So first you have the header, set line size 90, so it meaning that you can write up to 90 words in one line. And you have the global path PWD. It's basically where you put this specific do file. When you open, the working directory will be the path where the do file is located. So you don't need to set any working directory anymore unless you want. And then you have the capture quietly lock close, set more of quiet lock using example. So this is just the header that we all know before. But then one of the main difference when you use MARCDoc is that the command in STATA that used to be with the star and the slash are no more commands here, but these are the text, right? Like everything I'm going to write up here is going to be a text, and it will be a little bit like that. So you can actually write down without changing anything here, because those little signs mean something from STATA, so that MARCDoc, when MARCDoc will run this out, you have an output document, a Word document, and those tests, which usually used to be comment in a usual STATA file, are text, right? So you can actually type introduction. So for instance, I can say this report is about the level of poverty in Kyrgyzstan, and is, for instance, right? Like you have the possibility of writing like that, and you just edit this file if you like. So basically this specific do file will be available online, so you can just edit it as you want. So for instance, introduction, you can write here context and motivation, right? So you write here and you type everything. But the only thing is here you also have the possibility of being on and off. So when you click on off, it means all the different commands that you're going to type after this line will not be shown in your document, and when you click on, it means it will be on the document, right? So that's very important for you to understand. For instance, here the list command, so listing the observation from 1 to 5 won't be on my report, but the histogram and the graph will be on my report. And everything here, as I said, they are not comments, but they are basically already the text. So they are already your text, and you don't need, for instance, to say, if for instance you want to say the mean level of poverty in the household is $12.5 per day, you don't need to type $12.5. Like if you have the variable income in your data set that you've already uploaded, here for instance is the case of the price of car, because we are using the SysUse Auto data set here. Okay, so here for instance, instead of typing the number, you can just directly type the mean that you have on the data set directly, so you avoid having any type of error due to reporting that manually. And then you have the quietly lock close, so you close your do file, and then you have the MARCDoc command. So it basically means it will create, or it will put that on a Word document. So it's very important that you guys understand the usability of the dynamic document. It helps you reducing error, and especially error due to the fact that you're copying and pasting result from any kind of tables that you created or graph into the report that you're typing. So with the dynamic document, you have all in one. So it's really dynamic document. You're analyzing your data, but you're also typing directly your report on a do file, right? So here, if I'm running the do file, what I'm having as an output document is this example. So I'm having this file generated, and this is really like a basic and simple example. So you can see that all the tests that we were typing together here, this report is about the level of poverty in Kyrgyzstan, and it's writing so everything appears, and even the table are already there. You don't need to copy and paste everything, right? So just try and do that. For those of you who are finalizing the report, who are a little bit lost, just try and use that as a template so that you can maybe efficiently finalize your report. So thank you for your kind attention, and I wish you the best for your report, and I'm looking forward to discuss anything maybe by emails or later. Thank you. Means